Your compressor's all set up wrong. It's pumping, it's choking out your mix. Everybody hates you. You've become the person that everybody hates because you can't set a compressor. You can't even hear the compression. But don't worry, I'm here to help you. And in this mix series, I'm going to show you exactly how to set different styles of compression. Whether it's a VCA compressor, an Opto compressor, a Vari-mu compressor, I'm going to show you game, baby. Hope you're paying attention. Get your notepad out. Let's get into it. Okay, so I got my vocal. I got a session here from Frosty is Rad. It's called Roses in My Hood. It's coming out soon, hopefully. Frosty, you're the man. Here we go. We got a little rap rock punk kind of feel, and I'm going to show you this vocal, and I'm going to show you how to set a compressor right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to bypass all this stuff on my channel, and if you don't know this tip right here, you're already going to get a tip. In Pro Tools, you just hold down Shift 2-3. At the same time, it's going to bypass your inserts A through E. All right. So if you Shift 2-3, Shift 2-3, 23, Michael Jordan, you can bypass all your stuff at the same time. Bada bing, bada bam, bada bing, bada bam. So Shift 2 is to A through E. Shift 3 is F through J. So if you do them, both of them, you can do all of them. Okay. Bam. There. You just got your money's worth. Your free 99 money's worth. All right, so let's get into the compressor. Let's listen to the vocal. Let's mute the double. Let's mute the response vocals, all that stuff. And let's just give it a listen.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. 'Cause it's my turn to play the villain.
Now, of course, I have a bunch of processing on here. I've already kind of figured this vocal out, and I'm not going to bore you with that. What I'm going to bore you with is setting different styles of compressors. So now that we have these all bypassed, I'm going to open up a compressor. Let's start with a VCA compressor. Let's start with an SSL style compression. Okay, so one of my favorite VCA compressors, I'll go to the Plugin Alliance because that's where it's at. There is the Vertigo VSC2. I love this compressor. It's fast. It has a quad discrete VCA compressor. You're going to have to study science to get this shit down, right? What's the first thing I'm going to do to set a compressor and hear it? I'm going to smash it. All right, so that's all about the threshold and the ratio. I'm going to take the ratio to 8:1, and I'm going to take the threshold, and I'm just going to lower it as low as possible. So that's negative 36.4 dB, which is really funny. Why negative 36.4, Mr. Vertigo? So there we go. I'm going to be compressing the crap out of it. Don't worry about your attack. Don't worry about your release right now. I'm going to show you how to set this thing as fast as possible. This is a VCA compressor. Take the threshold all the way down, ratio 8:1, and let's go. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just making up a ton of gain, right? Like, let's go 12.5 dB, just so we can hear the vocal. I could even solo the vocal. Let's solo the vocal. That way we can really hear it.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero.
Okay, so I don't need to make up all that gain. What I'm going to do, my first thing I'm going to do on a vocal is I'm going to have the attack as fast as possible. And I'm just going to start to back up off the attack until you let the initial transient of the vocal come through. That means if you want a more natural vocal, you go a little bit slower on the attack because you're letting more of the first initial saying or thing or whatever consonant through, and then it's going to grab it, okay? And then the release, we're going to leave really fast, okay? That's all we're doing right now. We're going to set the attack. Let's go.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. 'Cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can.
So on this compressor, because it's such a fast compressor, I'm taking it down to 30 milliseconds, which is still fast. That's very fast, right? Think about 30 milliseconds. Can you even count that? 30. No, of course not, right? You're human. All right, so let's start to now play around with the release and set the release. Remember, I'm smashing the crap out of it. My threshold's very high. I'm compressing a lot. That's the whole idea, okay? You can even go 10-1 and make it a limiter. 8-1's good for me, though. Even 4-1. Let's go 4-1.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, but it's my turn.
Okay, so on this compressor, VCA, I really like the auto release function. I think it sounds really good, and I think that it holds it long enough to let the syllables and the phrases be compressed, but there's no pumping. And when you pump a compressor, that basically means that you're attacking too fast and you're releasing at a too slow, kind of in the middle rate, which means you say something or you play something. Let's say you go, ah, and it compresses and it goes, ah, 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 ah. A lot of you guys are misusing your compressor. So when in doubt, use the auto release function. But now we can hear, we're hearing the vocal come through. We're compressing a ton and it still doesn't sound super artifact. It sounds pretty cool, sounds pretty clean. But now that I have that, I'm going to back up off the makeup gain. I'm going to go back to 0 and I'm going to start playing around with the threshold to where I'm getting a good amount of compression and the sound that I want, the tone I want from the compressor. That's it. Let's go.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, but it's my turn to play the villain.
So it sounds cool. Fattened up the vocal. Probably want to be careful, you know, have some EQ, get rid of that stuff. You could also mess around with the sidechain filter, let the low end through if you want, so you're just compressing everything above a certain amount. But for now, I think that's a great setting. Let's start to make up the gain. Because we are compressing about 4 to 6 dB, we're going to make up the gain around 5 dB.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero.
All right, now let's bypass it in and out, because that's how you set a compressor. You have to turn the threshold really low, compress the crap out of it so you can hear the effects of it with the attack and the release, and then you want to mess around with the attack and the release. And I'll show you on the next compressor, so stick around and like that, hit the like button while you're at it, right? Why not? Helps us out a little bit. Get these people this information so they stop messing up their records. And then we're going to go into a LA2A. I'm going to show you an Opto compressor and how that works. And I'll even explain how it works because I got a degree in sound arts. I'm super smart, baby.
I am the one, the way your son don't need the. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero.
Okay, so the compressor is doing exactly what a compressor should do. It is taking down the peak levels and it's taking up the low level information by the makeup gain, okay? Which means we are taking the dynamics out of the performance. We're not, you can be a hero. You can be the hero. Now it's, you can be the hero. Now everything's coming through and you could hear it solid. So let's move on to the next compressor. Let's use an LA2A. Let's set an LA motherfucking 2A. Hit tab. You could search in Pro Tools, which is my favorite thing ever. /2A. CLA2A is fine. Let's get it. All right, so the thing about the LA2A that is very different from, let's say, a tube compressor, or which is a variable mu, or a VCA compressor, is that it works off an Opto, basically a diode it's a light sensor, okay? So when the attack and the release are set, you see there's only gain and there's only peak reduction, which means peak reduction is more threshold. It's like turning your threshold down on the other one, turning it counterclockwise. So this is actually going to have a set attack and release. And that's kind of good for some people that don't know how to set that stuff very well, right? But the trick here is that there's a light diode that shines and opens as it hits the threshold. So when your audio crosses a threshold point where compression kicks in, the light diode gets shined open, okay? And as long as it takes for that diode to turn back off, it's just basically a light and it's turning on and off. Da. You know, the speed of light is very fast, but the speed that it turns back off is a little bit slower, right? So we're going to have a da, 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 da. It's going to like a flickering light almost, right? So we got to be really careful with this compressor. I find the sweet spot is around -5 to -7 dB of any LA2A or 1176. That's my opinion. You guys figure it out yourself. I don't give a damn. But the cool thing about this compressor is that it also adds a little bit of slight edge to the top mids, to the spitty area, which is cool, but also can cause some de-essing issues. You might have to do some more de-essing. So let's check it out. As I bring this peak reduction up, remember we're going to smash the crap out of it, and then the gain is going to be the post gain. So you're going to be bringing it back up.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, but it's my turn to play the...
And you can notice that because it's a light diode, you have a fixed release and a fixed attack. The attack sounds good on the vocal, but I feel like the release is a little too slow, right? So it starts to pump a little bit. It starts to go and grab a hold. It's holding too long. The release is too long for this vocal. So because it has like the da 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 da, and then at the end it has the to da 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 da, like it's holding longer. Those notes are holding longer. You might want to set it for a different compressor on this type of vocal. This might work really well on a rap vocal, but once it starts holding on to notes and being more legato, it might be holding too long, right? So let's make up the gain and let's see if we can match this up, and then I'll explain this flat and high frequency knob and these analog knobs as well, and then the limiter to you guys.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, but it's my turn to play the villain.
So you notice how it's smashing on to play the villain. So just be careful with that. Now, another thing you can do on this compressor is if you turn it flat, basically you're turning it to the right here. You're actually saying to feed it more of high frequency stuff, okay? So it's basically saying react to the full bandwidth or react only to the high frequency stuff. Or react more to the high frequency stuff is what my understanding is. But you could use your ear. You can really hear the difference. If I turn this up, it's going to compress a lot harder with a lot less peak reduction. Okay, so check this out.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero.
Okay, so you'll notice when I turn it flat, when I turn it all the way clockwise, it's letting the high end through more, right? Like the vocal has more of like a peak, a nice like a cutty mid-range to it, right? That 3K to 5K kind of area. When I turn it back this way, I have to compress harder, but you'll notice that the high end actually starts to get a little bit flattened out. So just I'm going to A-B it. So I have this all the way to the counterclockwise. So we should hear less high end basically.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero.
All right, now let's change it and change it all the way clockwise to flat, or what it says, high frequency flat. Now let's listen to this. Listen to the high end. Listen to the sibilance. Listen to the top sparkle.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain.
So that's a really cool feature of the LA2A, but you got to be really careful to mess around with your peak reduction as you use this filter right here, okay? And then here's the last thing. You have analog, 60 hertz hum, which is 60 cycles, 120 from the wall, or there's 50 hertz hum, which is just literally noise. So if you don't want noise on your track, just turn it off. That's literally. All right, and then limit, what you're basically doing is turning this into an 8-to-1 or above, right? So it's limiting the audio. It's letting for every dB in of 8 dB in, it's letting 1 through. When you have it on compress, I believe it's a 3-to-1. It's somewhere around there. 3-to-1, 4-to-1, somewhere around there. So it's letting, for every 4 dB that hit the compressor, it's letting 1 through. So that's it. It's basically, do you want to compress more or less? And limiting versus compressing, we won't get into that in this series right now. I just wanted to show you how to set these different compressors. Let's do one more, and that's going to be one of my favorites, I think, on stereo buses and things. But variable mu from Manley is going to be very, very cool. Variable mu is variable cool. All right, so let's look at what we have here, because this one's a little different, right? Not too different. It has a dual input, which just means like stereo, right? Or left, right, mono. And then it has this little switch here that says left or right or mid side, right? You can change that. I don't think I can do it on a mono track though. This is just a vocal, it's just mono. And then you have the output, you have the threshold, which is minimum is gonna be, of course, compressing the most, right? And then maximum. And then the attack is slow, fast, there you go. And you have a mix, a wet dry mix, which is awesome. And then you also have recovery. You can go really fast or you can go really slow. Now, what do? That's right. We turn that release all the way fast. We turn that threshold all the way down, and we start with a very fast attack, and we'll start to back off until we hear that vocal coming through and where it's just compressing at the right time, okay? So let's listen.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero.
Okay, one last thing about this compressor, and I think maybe the most important thing about variable mu compressors, whether you're using a Fairchild, variable mu, the Manley, you know, any tube compressor, when you drive the input, you are driving the tubes. You're literally causing distortion inside of a tube. A tube is being saturated and it's causing harmonic distortion. No matter what tube compressor you use, I don't care. Unless it doesn't have a tube input circuitry, which then it's not really a tube compressor. It just means that it has some sort of tube. Maybe you have a tube part that you can change into or whatever, but it's not a variable mu compressor, because variable mu compressor means that it compresses by using tubes, okay? So let's drive the input and just listen. Listen to this. This is insane.
You can be the hero. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero.
Hopefully you can hear that, but it's really just adding some distortion. And you might need a little bit more gain going into a variable mu to get even more distortion. For example, let's turn on this EQ and let's drive a little bit more gain from the EQ, right? So just bring this up and let's like give it like a good juice. Let's go 8 dB of gain, right? Like we really want to push this vocal into this compressor. And just listen to this. This will start to distort, I think, I hope.
You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can...
I mean, just listen to like the harmonics. It's bringing out that throat, like, which is so cool about tube compressors, any variable mu compressor. So now let's start to set our compressor, which is basically backing up off the attack, and then we'll set our release.
You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's my turn to play the villain. You can be the hero. You can be the hero, 'cause it's...
Now remember, a tube compressor variable mu is going to be a little bit slower all the way around than, say, a VCA. A VCA, because it's literally a VCA, a circuitry that's very, very fast, a voltage-controlled amplifier, and it's very digital, right? It's just like literally a computer chip. Versus something like a tube and how it compresses and saturates versus a light diode with an opto compressor like an LA2A, they all have their feels and they all have like their goo or how fast and punchy they are. So VCAs are typically used on drums because they're punchy and quick, right? Like the API 2500, the VCA I just showed you, the SSL series, stuff like that. It's going to be fast. It's going to be quick to attack, quick to release, and you can set those things. With a variable mu, it's going to be kind of more gooey, and I think it's a little bit more aggressive in the mid-range. It pushes things forward. It can distort. And then an LA2A, an opto is going to be more like vibey, and then it probably, just because the LA2A has tubes in it, and it also has a big old transformers in it, right, that you can saturate with the inputs and outputs, and the gain reduction and all that, the structure of it, the actual integrity of the unit that it's modeling, the analog counterpart, is made of things that are going to saturate and add harmonics, okay? So the cleaner you want, the less stuff you want to go through, which is basically using like fab filter compressors or VCAs, SSL style compressors, stuff like that. But even SSLs will give you a lot of coloration. So that's how you set a compressor fast, and there's a bunch of details that you may not even have wanted. Right? Now, if you do want a deep dive into more mixing, mastering, production, marketing, branding your music and your business, click the link in the description and check out our new Radium Academy, because it's pretty awesome, and it's literally been 22 years of my life studying this stuff. I put it into all this. So click that link in the description. You get free 7 days of it, and it's a bunch of different videos and tutorials that you're not going to find anywhere on YouTube, especially this kind of information. It's deep dive stuff, breaking down mixes, mastering, all the goodies in Logic Pro, in Pro Tools, and really any DAW. All the concepts are the same. Thanks for tuning in. Like the video, share it with someone if you loved it, and drop a comment if you got anything, any questions or whatever. And thanks. Thanks again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have fun.